Hi everybody, welcome to the third session of electric and magnetic fields. In our previous session, we discussed about magnetic field induction due to a circular loop. In this session, I would like to teach about magnetic field induction due to a long solenoid. Our topic is magnetic induction due to long solenoid. We know about solenoid. So, what is a solenoid? Solenoid is nothing but a tightly wound long helical coil is said to be a solenoid. So, solenoid means a tightly wound long helical coil with a uniform diameter is simply said to be a solenoid. Here we take this solenoid and calculating magnetic field induction for this solenoid. Okay, for calculating this magnetic field induction for this solenoid, we consider a long solenoid. Here the solenoid length is treated as L. The length of the solenoid is treated as L. We show the interior part for calculating this magnetic field induction. For this, we consider a long solenoid. Here, the length for the solenoid is which is nothing but L. Okay. And also here the radius of the solenoid which is treated as small a. Here the radius for the solenoid is treated as small a. Here solenoid, there are number of turns are wounded tightly, closely. So there are n turns in this solenoid. Here in this solenoid the number of turns is considered as n and radius is considered as a, small a, and length is considered as L. So we want the number of turns per meter length, then we write small n is equal to n by L. Here the number of turns per meter length is nothing but small n is equal to n by L. Okay. For calculating magnetic field induction, we consider that I current is flowing through this solenoid. We suppose small I current is flowing through this solenoid. Then automatically whenever the current flowing through a conductor, the magnetic field is induced surrounding to that conducting material which is said by Oersted. Then here small I current is flowing through this solenoid, then automatically magnetic field induction is produced. So for calculating magnetic field induction for this solenoid, we just assume a small part of the solenoid. Here in this solenoid we consider a part of the solenoid which is named as AB, and the element is treated as its length as dx. Here we consider this as small part of the solenoid with the length dx which is named as A. Here we consider a point P for calculating magnetic field induction on inside the solenoid on the axis which is at a distance x from the center of the solenoid. We consider this center as O. Here the distance for this point P from this center of the solenoid is nothing but x, and also we joining the small part of the solenoid as lengths at two ends as from this point P. These two points are joined. So here it is making an angle theta. Here angle is nothing but for the starting end of the small part as PA and for the end of this small part as PB. Then here the angles made by this is nothing but which are the alternate exterior angles. Hence here the angle is nothing but d theta. Here we draw a bisector from this point A to this sides, then it is also named as C, then it forms a triangle ABC. Then it forms a triangle ABC. Okay. Here we consider small part of the solenoid which is the length as dx. Here the number of turns in this part of this small part is n dx, the number of turns, hence we consider that n value as n dx. So we know the magnetic field induction for a circular loop, we calculated in our last session, which is nothing but the magnetic field induction for a circular coil, which is nothing but B equal to mu naught Ni a square by 2 into a square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. If we consider the number of turns as capital N, then we write that n value as capital N. Therefore, B equal to number of turns is capital N, mu naught Ni a square by 2 into a square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. This is the magnetic field induction for circular coil, we know already. So, the magnetic field induction for circular coil, which is nothing but B equal to mu naught Ni a square by 2 into a square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. So, here for the small part of the solenoid, we first calculate the magnetic field induction, then by this small part we calculate the entire solenoid magnetic field induction. So, for supposing this here, this magnetic field induction for this small part, which is nothing but this B value as dB, here substituting this value as nothing but dB equal to B. It means the magnetic field induction for the small part AB, nothing but dB is treated as B. Okay. And also here we considering that n terms, number of turns in this as n dx, by substituting these terms in this value, therefore dB is nothing but mu naught n dx I a square by 2 into a square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. This is, we consider the magnetic field induction for the small area, nothing but small part of the solenoid, which is dx. dB is change it to this value dB equal to mu naught n dx I a square by 2 into a square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. So, from the diagram we can change the equation. Here in this diagram, triangle ABC is formed. From this triangle ABC, we can write the angle made by this here. So, sin theta nothing but is equivalent to AC by AB. We know the angle here sin theta, hence the opposite angle by hypotenuse nothing but AC by AB. Here AC is nothing but the distance from here considered as R, then its value as R d theta, angle made is d theta by AB, which is the elemental length named AB, nothing but dx. From this we have this dx value in this equation, then this dx is nothing but R d theta by sin theta. Okay. So, this dx is nothing but R d theta by sin theta. And also from the diagram we can write this R square value is nothing but R square is equivalent to A square plus X square. So, by substituting this A square plus X square is equal to R square and dx value in above equation R d theta by sin theta, the equation then changes into dB is equivalent to mu naught this n dx value, which is nothing but R d theta I a square by 2 into this sin theta, and also a square plus x square nothing but r square whole power 3 by 2. By cancelling this square and power 3 by 2, we have dB is nothing but dB equal to mu naught, we write this I square, I and a square terms before, I a square n d theta into r by 2 sin theta into r cube. Here r in numerator and denominator r cube, then cancelling single r, therefore dB is nothing but mu naught I a square n d theta by 2 r square sin theta. Here we know this a square and r square here in numerator and denominator, then we can change it as equation simply therefore dv is equivalent to mu naught ni d theta by 2 sin theta into this value as a by r whole square. Here in numerator a square and denominator r square, then we can write simply a by r whole square. Here from the diagram a by r, which is nothing but equivalent to sin theta. So from the diagram we can write sin theta value which as a by r in above expression. Then the expression becomes dv is equivalent to mu naught ni d theta by 2 sin theta into sin square theta. Here this sin square theta and in numerator and denominator sin theta, by cancelling this sin theta in this, then we have dv equal to mu naught ni d theta sin theta. Here mu naught ni sin theta d theta by 2. So we have db value as mu naught ni sin theta d theta by 2. This is the magnetic field induction for the small part of the solenoid, which is nothing but AB, the elemental length we considered. Now we calculate the magnetic field induction for this entire solenoid. For this we have to integrate this equation between the limits theta 1 and theta 2. Now we have the equation becomes as B for, it means magnetic field induction for the whole solenoid, which is nothing but B equal to integral theta 1 to theta 2 dV. Now by integrating this we have the magnetic field induction for the entire solenoid. Here the dV value, by substituting and integrating we get the magnetic field induction. Here this theta 1 and theta 2 are the semi-vertical angle subtended by this point P at the two ends of the solenoid. So here the semi-vertical angles made by this point P from the two ends of the solenoid, which are given as by this diagram, nothing but at this point B, here the angle is theta 1 and the angle is theta 2. These two are the semi-vertical angles made by this point B from the two ends of the solenoid. Okay. So these are the two angles. So now we substitute the expression for dB in this and we integrate it. Then we get the magnetic field induction for the entire solenoid. So therefore B is equivalent to integral theta 1 to theta 2. The dB value, which is nothing but mu naught ni sin theta d theta divided by 2. Okay, here the constant terms are right before the integration. Then B equal to mu naught ni by 2 into integral theta 1 to theta 2 sin theta d theta. Here integral sin theta, we know integrating the sin theta we have minus cos theta. Therefore B equal to mu naught ni by 2 into minus cos theta between the limits theta 1 and theta 2. By substituting the upper limit first, then we have B equal to mu naught ni by 2 into minus cos theta 2. Then the lower upper limit is substituted, we have minus cos theta 2, and by substituting the lower limit minus of minus, then it becomes plus cos theta 1. Here the value of B now becomes B equivalent to mu naught ni by 2 into cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2, which is the magnetic field induction for this long solenoid. Okay, the magnetic field induction for a long solenoid is now becomes B equal to mu naught ni by 2 into cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. I hope you are following the expression for magnetic field induction for a long solenoid. So there are two cases arises in this magnetic field induction for a solenoid. Here case 1, when the point P lies, when this point P lies inside this solenoid and on this axis, we have the values of theta 1 and theta 2 are as theta 1 value which is 0 and theta 2 value which is 180 degrees. By substituting these theta 1 and theta 2 in above expression, then B equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into cos 0 degrees minus cos 180 degrees. So, the value of cos 0 degrees which is nothing but 1 and cos 180 degrees minus 1 minus of minus plus. Then we have B equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into 2. By cancelling this 2 on both the numerator and denominator, then we have B equal to mu naught Ni. This is the expression when we consider the point P on inside this axis. So, the second case, which is when the point is at the end of the solenoid, the point is at the end of the solenoid, then the expression becomes theta 1 value which is nothing but 0 and theta 2 value which is nothing but angle here pi by 2. By substituting this in above expression, B equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into, the expression is nothing but mu naught Ni into cos theta 1 minus cos theta 2. Here the theta 1 value is nothing but cos 0 degrees and theta 2 value which is nothing but cos 90 degrees. Here we know the value of cos 90 which is nothing but 0. Then we have B equal to mu naught Ni by 2 into 1. So, when the point P which is from the end of the solenoid, the expression for magnetic field induction is B equal to mu naught Ni by 2. These are the two cases arises when the magnetic field induction due to a long solenoid. I hope you are following the magnetic field induction for a long solenoid by the two cases which are the point P which is inside the axis and the second case the point at the end of the long solenoid. Then we go for the next topic which is very important to our semester, and also by using this Hall effect. What is our topic which is Hall effect is very important in our applications of electronics also. Okay, our topic is nothing but Hall effect. Hall, the scientist, performed a number of experiments and he concluded the nature of charge carriers are identified by this effect. Hence, this effect is named as Hall effect. What is the definition for Hall effect? The definition for Hall effect is nothing but when a magnetic field is applied, the magnetic field is applied perpendicular to the current carrying conductor. Magnetic field is applied perpendicular to the current carrying conductor, then potential difference is establishes at the ends of the conductor is simply said to be Hall effect. Hall effect is nothing but when a magnetic field is applied perpendicular to the current carrying conductor, a potential difference is established at the ends of the current carrying conductor, which is said to be Hall effect. So, here Hall applied the electric field perpendicular to a current carrying conductor, then he observed magnetic field is developed at the opposite axis, along y-axis, and also some force is created. So, by understanding this, we draw the diagram for Hall effect. I hope you follow this definition. So according to Hall definition, whenever the magnetic field is applied perpendicular to current carrying conductor, we consider a current carrying conductor. Here in this direction current is carrying, we applied perpendicular to this current carrying conductor magnetic field, then automatically potential difference is developed at the ends of the conductor. This is the definition for Hall effect. Then we, understanding this Hall effect, we draw the diagram for Hall effect, which is nothing but, the diagram is as follows. Here for this we consider a rectangular strip, which is nothing but the rectangular strip. This is named as PQ, or yes, here the rectangular strip is, rectangular strip is nothing but this one. Hence we can write the names as PQ or S. Here along the x direction, first along, this is the x direction. So x axis, along the x direction he passed some current I through this conductor. Then he observed magnetic field is established along y direction, nothing but magnetic field. Magnetic field is established along, this is y direction, and by these two effects, here the electric field and magnetic field are simultaneously perpendicular to each other. Then by Fleming left hand rule, force is which is created in z direction. Here this is x axis, x direction, y axis in y direction, z axis. So along x direction we are applying current. So current flowing through this conductor, then magnetic field is established along y direction due to whenever the electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, we know the Fleming left hand rule. Along x direction current, along y direction magnetic field, then automatically along the thumb nothing but z axis force is created. By this principle, here force is created along the z direction. Here the charge carriers are present on this strip PQ or S. Whenever the current flows, here negative charges and positive charges are established. So our definition, which is nothing but whenever magnetic field is applied perpendicular to the current carrying conductor, there is potential difference is created, which is ends of this conductor. Hence the potential difference which is created by Hall. Hence we say that the potential difference, which is nothing but VH, created by this Hall. Hence the potential difference is nothing but VH. From the definition of Hall effect, the potential difference is created at the ends of this conductor. Hence VH is created here. So here the name as MN for this and O. Okay, here this is the strip width for this, which is considered as D. So here the PQRS strip width is, which is nothing but D. Here the Hall electric field is created here is nothing but EH, and the electrons are drifting here from these charge carriers. Here the charge carriers, whether positive or negative, we don't know. By this charge Hall effect only, we can say that the charge carriers are negative or charge carriers are positive. Hence the electrons are drifted, hence the velocity is nothing but a drift velocity. Here the charge carriers velocity is, which is nothing but a drift velocity. Okay, from this diagram, I hope you are following the diagram for Hall effect. We calculate the Hall EMF. We calculate the Hall EMF. So before calculating the Hall EMF, by observing Hall, by this effect, he says that the nature of charge carriers. Here the charge carriers are electrons in metals. Charge carriers are electrons in metals, and the charge carriers are holes in semiconductors or p-type semiconductors. By conducting and performing Hall experiments, Hence, he concluded that the charge carriers are electrons in metals and charge carriers are holes in p-type semiconductors or semiconductors. So, for calculating Hall EMF from this diagram, we say that along x direction, we applying electric field, nothing but current is flowing through this conductor, then automatically magnetic field is established along y direction, and due to this force is created in z direction by Fleming left hand rule. Here some force is creating, that force is nothing but magnetic deflecting force and electric deflecting force. We first write the magnetic deflecting force acting on the charge carriers. Magnetic deflecting force on the charge carriers, which is nothing but the magnetic deflecting force on the charge carriers is nothing but Vd cross B, charge Q. Here Q is the charge on the charge carriers. So the magnetic deflecting force on the charge carriers is nothing but Q into Vd cross B. Here Vd is the drift velocity for the charge carriers and B is the magnetic force acting on the charge carriers. So, and also there is present electric deflecting force. So, electric deflecting force, nothing but deflecting force on the charge carriers, which is nothing but here the field created by Hall is nothing but Hall electric field, hence we can write it EH. Here charge acting, which is nothing but Q into EH is the Hall electric deflecting force on the charge carriers. So at equilibrium condition or at steady state, the total force acting on the charge carriers, which is nothing but the algebraic sum of these two, hence Q into Vd cross B plus Q into EH, which is equivalent to 0 at steady state. Hence we can write at equilibrium condition the total deflecting force on the charge carriers, which is nothing but Q into Vd cross B plus Q into EH is equal to 0. Then we have Q into EH is equivalent to Q into Vd cross B. Here negative sign is mentioned, but here we considered only magnitudes, not the sign of the charge carriers. Then also cancelling this Q on both sides, then we have EH is equivalent to Vd cross B. Here this Vd cross B is nothing but here electric field and magnetic field which are perpendicular to each other, hence the angle made by them is 90 degrees. We can write VdB sin 90 degrees. The value of sin 90 we know, which is 1. Then Hall created electric field, which is nothing but EH is equivalent to VdB. This is treated as equation 1. I hope you are following the diagram. Then I rub this diagram. Okay. Here we have the value of Hall electric field created here, which is nothing but EH. The value of EH we have here. Vd is nothing but drift velocity. The drift velocity is related with current density. We know, we learned in our lower classes. Hence we can say that Vd, which is nothing but the drift velocity, which is related with current density. Then we can write Vd equal to J by Nq. So in our first equation, nothing but Hall electric field, EH is equal to, by substituting this Vd value, then we have Jb by Nq. This is the second equation. So Hall electric field created here, which is nothing but Hall EMF, is EH is equal to Jb by Nq, where J is current density. Current density. And also here N means number of charge carriers and Q is the charge of the charge carriers. Then we go for Hall coefficient. Hall coefficient. The Hall coefficient, which is nothing but, we derive the expression, then we say the definition for Hall coefficient. So here Hall created electric field is EH and potential difference nothing but created Hall voltage if we consider the voltage created in Hall effect is VH. VH is the Hall voltage, which is VH is the Hall voltage created, then the potential difference for the ends of the conductor. So this VH is related with current drift velocity. Then we have EH is equal to, here electric field EH is nothing but VH by D. Here VH is the Hall voltage we considered, and the Hall electric field is EH is nothing but VH by D. Here what is the D? Here small d, which represents the width of the strip in our diagram. The width of the strip in our diagram D. Hence we consider this as equation 2. So we have already EH value, which is nothing but JB by NQ, and equation 2, Hall electric field is related with Hall voltage. By equating these two equations 1 and 2, we have VH by D is equivalent to JB by NQ. Then VH by JBD is equivalent to 1 by NQ, which is the Hall coefficient. Hall coefficient is indicating with the letter RH. Hall coefficient is indicating with the letter RH. Okay, this RH can also written as RH is equivalent to this VH by JBD, and also we have this EH value, which is nothing but Hall created electric field EH. VH by D means EH, hence we write EH by JB is nothing but Hall coefficient. From this expression we concluded or says that Hall coefficient is equivalent to the ratio of Hall electric field and the product of current density and magnetic field induction, which is equivalent to Hall coefficient. By this Hall coefficient, the nature of charge carriers are said by Hall, which is nothing but the charge carriers are negative in case of electrons. In case of electrons, the charge carriers are negative. It means if we have finding this Hall coefficient value, this RH value is nothing but negative, then the charge carriers are electrons. If we have the RH value which is positive, then the charge carriers are nothing but positively charged carriers, means nothing but they are holes. So we have electrons as charge carriers, then the strip we have taken for the experiment, which is nothing but conductors, so nothing but they are metals. They are metals. If we have the RH value positive and we have the charge carriers are holes, then we take that conducting material, which is nothing but semiconductors. Semiconductors. So this is the Hall effect, and Hall EMF we have find, and Hall coefficient we observed. From this Hall says some applications. These are they also repeated for applications. So Hall applications which are nothing but by this effect we can say the nature of charge carriers. Then we can say that this is the application for charge carriers, and also by this Hall coefficient value and Hall effect we can detect the strong magnetic field present in DC motors. In DC motors, by using sensor arrangement, the magnetic field is present in it can be identified. This is also another application. And also by using this Hall effect, we can identify the drift velocity for the charge carriers, and also the nature of charge carriers are also identified by this Hall effect. I hope we are following this Hall effect and magnetic field induction for this long helical coil, which is nothing but solenoid, in this session, and we go for the next session. Thank you.